Hey guys, Phil here. I'm in the recording studio. Not recording studio, dummy. I'm in the rehearsal studio getting ready for a show I've got coming up next week. Big show if you're in Sendai, Japan. It's the Sendai Street Jazz Festival, one of the biggest outdoor street jazz festivals, and I'll be playing on one of the big stages. But that's not why I'm here today. I'm here today to talk about kind of the thing that's in the title of the video, and that is how to come up with these business ideas. Now, last time I said, well, here's why you're not making enough money, because your idea isn't big enough. And everyone goes, well, Phil, that's all great and good to say that, but what do you actually mean? How do I come up with these ideas? And so I have 12 steps. It's not a 12-step program. It's actually 3 things of 4 that I want to talk about. I'm going to pick up the piece of paper if you don't mind. So first is, coming up with the general idea. And I always think the general idea should be specific to you. So I've got 4 points about that. One is to look at pain points in your life. What things do you find frustrating? Do you find difficult or repetitive? And odds are that if it's that for you, then it's like that for other people. And that's a good place to start. I mean, for instance, with my business, Zonmaster, a friend of mine was having such difficulty sending out emails to his Amazon customers that he said, well, could you come up with a kind of system, and let's develop a system to send those emails out and everything like that. And that's kind of how Zonmaster came about out of that pain point. So maybe there's something you do, you have a business already. Providing businesses for businesses is a great space to be in my opinion. So if you're already doing something, what do you see? How can it be improved? And if you have competition, do you think they could buy that improvement from you? So the pain points in your life, but also the pain points in other people's lives. I mean, look at the news, and I just saw a piece the other day about food recycling and how we're throwing away so many trillion tons of food every year. Is there something that you can do in that space? And you're like, well, I'm just me, But that's going to be coming up in my third set of 4. But so look at the news and see if there's ideas there. I mean, you should be having ideas all the time, and if something kind of piques your fancy, piques your interest, then you should write it down and, and let it sit and stew in your brain, and maybe it'll pop out with an idea. And then the third one is look at your skills. I mean, if you're a software developer, that's one thing, but what areas of software do you have experience in? For me, I had worked a lot in subscription-based things before, so doing this kind of Amazon service was a subscription, was natural extension for me, and I could use a lot of I had done a lot with APIs, so talking to the Amazon API was something that could easily be done. But I could have gone in many different directions. As a software person, you work in different areas, and I spent 15 years working in the sports betting industry, which is tons and tons of money and very strange and interesting, and that's a specialized knowledge. And I could have gone into that, and we talked about setting up a new betting company and things like this. And by the way, I'm saying betting, not bedding. Somebody thought I worked in mattresses, but so look at your skills, what you have experience in. I'm sorry to say, but you should be building on your experience. You shouldn't be jumping horses all the time. You should be building up a skill, building up an area and your expertise in that area. And the more you build up that skill and expertise, the more business ideas will come to you, and the more business will come to you as well, I think. And so finally, my fourth idea is kind of against all those other ones in a little bit, and probably also controversial, and that is to look at other things out there and clone them. Now, I know what you're saying, you're stealing ideas, but I mean, hopefully you're not a robot, and when you clone something, you will put your own personality into it. And you will see a slightly different approach. But you can start out right off the bat of saying, okay, here's a space that I'm interested in. What are people doing in that space? Let me try and make a service just like that. And okay, maybe I'm talking a lot to software developers, but I'm a software person, so sorry. But Find a solution that someone else is providing and clone that solution, add your own twist to it. First of all, it's a great learning experience to see what really is behind that solution. It's a great starting point for your own solution, and of course, it's a good way to find a market and break into a market by me tooing, not in the Harvey Weinstein way, but in saying I do this service as well. I'm holding the camera, so I'm sorry for the bouncing. So those are my 4 points about, the general finding an idea. And look at the pain points in your life, look at the news, look at your skills, and look at a space and clone something and start with a starting point. So those are my 4 points there. But let's go on. Now, these next 2 sets of 4 points are all about how to evolve that business and what you should be thinking about, questions you should be asking yourself as you develop this business. And the first 4 set of points are kind of like the conventional way, what is now the conventional way, like the lean startup way, about, what's growing your business and developing and all the rest of it. The other 4 are the Peter Thiel way. And they're interesting compare and contrast because it touches a little bit on what I was talking about last time about not being big enough. In the lean startup is kind of to build, a normal business, normal scale, normal size, can be small, can be medium. The Peter Thiel way is to change the world, and that's, so they're 2 different things. One takes a lot more balls than the other. But let's look at the 4 kind of normal lean startup ways. And the first thing is look at your sector and make an incremental advance. So this is kind of like what I was saying with the cloning. Look at what other people are doing and say, okay, well, I can improve this area of what they're doing or what's being done in the industry in general. Make an incremental advance. Don't bloat yourself. So stay lean and flexible. Be able to pivot and make slight changes. Don't be so wedded and bought into a big solution that you can't change it if it needs come. Improve on the competition. So, as you are developing and making incremental advances to what's available in the marketplace and what you're available, you should be improving on, not just being different. So, I can put some crazy thing on my software and say, oh, look, I'm different than the competition. And everyone's like, well, who cares? You want to improve on it, and you improve on things by asking people what's wrong, or knowing what's wrong because you're a customer yourself. So improve on it. And the 4th thing, which I really love this idea, this concept, is to focus on the product and not focus on the sales. I never worry about money. I always worry about, is what I'm making good? Because if it's good and appeals to enough people, then there's going to be money. And so ZonMaster went 2 years with 0. So, it cost me money to keep that going because, I had to pay for servers and all that. But then something at the 2-year mark, bing, it exploded. And now, we've got thousands and thousands of customers and things are great. So, but I never focused on the sales, and I never went, oh my God, why aren't we getting more people in? And maybe if I'd done some marketing or something, I don't know, maybe if I'd focused on sales, it would have been faster. But I'm happy, because I know I've got a stable, robust product, and I know I've got customers that are going to last a long time. So focus on the product, not the sales. So those are the 4 kind of lean startup-y conventional ways, and to build your lean startup-y conventional business. But let's take a look at the kind of the Peter Thiel way. First one, it's better to risk boldness than triviality. So right out of the gate, he's saying, go for some big crazy thing. Don't make incremental changes. Make something, wow, amazing. Make something totally revolutionary. I'm going to get to the downsides of these in a second, by the way. And, I call this the hand grenade approach, and I'm, in my personal life, a bit of a fan of the hand grenade approach. Just chuck everything out, baby bathwater. But, yes, blow up the industry, blow up what you're talking about. And number 2 for Thiel is a bad plan is better than no plan. So just keep going. Whereas, in in kind of lean startup way, they were like, stay lean, flexible, moving. Thiel's way is find a plan, stick with that plan until you have a really good reason to change that plan, because you came up with that plan for a reason, presumably. He's assuming you're not an idiot. Number 3 is competitive markets destroy profits. So whereas the lean startup is like, okay, find the competition, make something better than the competition, improve in an area. Thiel is like, screw the competition. I want to be in a place where there is no competition. So either find a way to destroy the competition or go into something that's new, green, blue ocean, they call it blue ocean. Do that. Am I talking too fast? Let me know. I've had a lot of coffee today. And his 4th is sales matter as much as the product. So you can see how Thiel and lean startup are kind of diametrically opposed. So Thiel really focuses, you've got to be marketing, you've got to be selling from day one. So I will say that my business, ZonMaster, certainly went the lean startup route. I focused on incremental improvements, bettering the competition, staying lean and flexible, focusing on the product, not the sales. I'm working on a new project now that's kind of under wraps that I'm not going to talk about the details of it, but I will say that it's totally Thiel inspired. It's a complete, disruptive, changing, unique product in a global space, and here's where we get to the differentiating thing between these two. Lean startup, if you do your research and you're not an idiot and all that, 9 out of 10 businesses fail, and that's pretty scary. So like 90% of businesses are going to fail. And by fail, I mean not survive the first 2 years. If you look at not survive the first 5 years, it's probably a little bit worse than that. But, you've done your research, you're not going into it for no reason, all the rest of it, 9 out of 10. But with Peter Thiel, because you're shooting so high, I would say 99 out of 100 businesses are going to fail. So you should never expect success. And this is some, but the scale of your success could potentially be bigger. The fame, the impact, everything is going to be bigger if it works. So you're going to make a shitload of money if your Thiel-like idea works, and you maybe will change the world and all these other TED Talkian type things. Your lean startup idea, you're going to hopefully make some money, and maybe you'll grow and you'll do something and you'll be all right, but you're probably not going to change the world, and you're probably not going to make $1 squillion. So there's my thing about your great business idea. First 4 questions were about, how to come up kind of with a business idea. And the second part was my 2 sets of 4 about developing that business. Sorry for the shaky camera, but if you stayed this long, I'd love to hear your comments about these ideas. For me, this is really what starting a business is all about. Very impactful stuff. And I know from experience that businesses may not work, but the bigger the idea, the bigger the chance, and the bigger the money. Absolutely. So subscribe if you like this video. I guess if you watched this far, maybe you did. So subscribe and stick around for the next one. And I'm Phil Smyth. I'm here in Japan. Me, my guitar, some amps, drums. I don't play the drums. We'll see you soon.